Lovingly and Orderly, A Son's Lament is a true story, as the names of the character in the story have not been changed because no involved clandestine criminal activity is innocent. The book is suitable for individuals who are dealing with or will have to face the loss of a loved one and the complex obstacles that they must contend with in our society. My name is Theodore Shorter, and I'm with Yaya Diamond on Dream Chasers Radio.
I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. Man, I'm telling you, I got a great show today, and I'm just so excited to have the author Theodore Shorter on the show today. He just gave you something, and you just saw his book, so I'm just so excited to have him. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. So tell me about yourself. I remember we were talking about this earlier before we started the show today. You said that this found you, that you did not want to be an author.
No, I wouldn't have never guessed that I would have become an author. Um, if you would have told me maybe 20 years before I started writing a book that was something that I would do, I wouldn't have believed it.
I love the fact that this kind of evolved into something that you didn't expect. But let's go back a little bit. What were you doing before all of this hit you?
What was I doing? Oh boy. Well, I was working for the federal government, and I was a physical security specialist. Basically, I would do surveys for government buildings, and I guess the story started probably in 2004. And I tell you in my book, death is not about grieving, but it's about adjusting to the loss of the loved one. And I said that this is a profound statement that I had found out as a result of the death of my beloved mother, Pauline Shorter.
Mm, mm, mm. Wow. So when this happened, and my condolences to you and your family for this, when
Yeah,
this
yeah,
happened, this whole shift, because a lot of times we are living a life that, is great, it's wonderful, and all of a sudden
right,
something like this
right.
comes into play. What were your initial thoughts after everything, the grieving process was over? When did the book come into light?
The book came into light as I was walking through Union Station going to work. And I saw Jimmy Carter had just written a book. And I thought to myself, what I endured should be in a book. So I gradually started sitting down and writing and writing and writing. And I mean, the book has been through, it initially came out in 2010. And I had a little bit more words, but I took some of it out and I re-edited it for 2012, and I went with a different publisher. Now I'm with the Media Reviews, and we're in the process of trying to get the word out about my book and educate people.
Mm.
You see a lot of things, I guess you see in the news today. There are a lot of guys who, especially African American men in particular, they resort to violence to deal with issues. And I picked up the pen to deal with the issues that I had to deal with.
Mm. Mm, mm, mm. So tell me about this book. I mean, this says it's lovingly and orderly. Where did you get the title for this?
Well, basically, I got the title from a note that my mother prepared. She had was writing down prayers, and she put down in her, I call it an impulsive handwritten memorandum, that at my death, I would like things carried lovingly and orderly.
Mm-hmm.
And my mother lived her life lovingly and orderly. I mean, she was the type of parent who would make sacrifices for her children.
Mm.
She made sure that we all went to school. She was active in the community. And I tell people sometimes about how my mother was vigilant. she always kept an eye on me. One time I was at a party in the neighborhood, and I wasn't supposed to be there. So my mother, I guess they say she turned the party out. She came in and called my name. I just so happened
Uh-oh.
to not be there at the time. And she told him, if you see him, tell him I'm looking for him.
Mm.
And so I eventually came home and had to deal with whatever disciplinary action she was going to take on me. She tracked
Yeah.
me from the bad elements in the community.
Mm. Mm.
I tell you in the book about, that's where I think the story had to be written, because I tell you about my mother's birth in Southwest Georgia, in Randolph County. And
Mm-hmm.
my great grandmother, Nellie Ann, uh, hid the pregnancy up until the time that my mother was born.
Mm.
And I have that in the book to tell you exactly how my great great grandmother, Martin Franklin, responded when he found out that somebody was having a baby in his house,
Mm.
and it wasn't good.
Ooh.
I mean, it was meant to write, because I mean, my mother, with my aunt Adele, when I started writing the book, she gave me some background on when my mother was born, and she told me that when Miss Ida Mae came, the midwife, when she came to help deliver the baby, that's when they discovered that my grandmother was pregnant, and my
Mm.
mother lived basically. She was, my grandmother was 26 years old when she had her,
Mm.
but she had an affair with somebody. I call it like a love child, and she never really had was to be able to identify with her father, who ultimately had to leave Georgia and never came back,
Mm.
because my great grandfather Martin Franklin was gonna kill him.
Ooh. Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. That, that's a trip. But
Wow.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not something that didn't happen back in those days too. And I mean, it happens now, but it was more scandalous back in those days than it is now today. You know, writing this book, what kind of emotions did you go through to get to the end? Did you have to relive things you didn't really want to relive?
You know what kept me grounded most of all was my faith. Especially, I don't start getting emotional here, because sometimes it took a little while for me to be able to actually talk about the book, because I would start choking up, and I got to hang on in here with Yaya Diamond. So we're gonna keep it upbeat. Keep it upbeat. So
Hmm.
um, it took it. I mean, I ran the gamut of emotions. Uh, I mean, uh, trying mind all substances, drinking, being places that, just for somebody, for a sounding board, basically, because it's bad when your own family members betray the love that you have for them. I mean,
Mm.
that's a pretty heavy thing when like for 20 years I probably haven't had a relationship with my sister Rosman and my brother John, and I guess, I don't know. Hopefully someday that we will be able to come together with love in order, like our mother put in her prayer. What my siblings did, reliving that and having to just, all the depositions are in the book. The depositions are in the
Mm.
book.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
and then just to have to deal with the corruption in Cook County, um,
Mm.
getting lawyers, paying them, and the lawyers don't do what they were contracted, or they when you get a retainer, they don't do what they're supposed to do. So that, and this involved a major bank in the city of Chicago, and I mean it's an investigative story. Um,
Wow.
you know, my experience as a security specialist probably honed my skills to be able to eventually write the story, because here I am protecting government buildings and facility with security countermeasures, and I can't protect my mother's honor. And that's kind of sad to say. Um, but like I said, I'm prayerful. I hope that at some point in time there's a change in the community, a change in the justice system. That was my major, criminal justice. I graduated from the University of Chicago, class of '92, and was a criminal justice major. And I see a lot of things that's going on in the community that basically it's an ignorance.
Mm.
People getting robbed, hijacked, and kids are doing this, and the police only can do so much. But
Yeah.
it starts at home with a mother, a caring mother that wants her children to do everything with love and order.
Mm, mm, mm. You know, we have something in common here.
Mhm.
You know what that is?
I thought you were your mother's from Chicago, right?
Yes. And I was born in Cook
Okay.
County.
Okay, I know. I looked that up. I saw that. I saw
Uh-huh.
you were born in I saw that. What, Cook
Yes, I
County
was.
Hospital? I was
Yes,
born
sir.
there
I,
too.
I hear it. I hear it's not Cook County anymore, though. Cook County Hospital.
It's
I hear it's a
John
different.
Stroger Hospital.
Okay.
And if you see
Okay.
the new county, the way they dressed it up, it's a hotel now. It's a
Wow.
hotel. So
Wow. I
people
mean,
come to
wow.
see. But like back then, when my mother went to the county, when she eventually she was unconscious, and it was a shock completely. My mother, she was only 68 years old, and it wasn't like she was, it just all of a sudden happened,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know how to prepare for that. Just like this interview, you don't know how to prepare. You try to figure out, how could I handle this, and that's when I called on Jesus,
Mm,
and he brought me through. He took the
mm,
pain away from the death.
mm. Wow.
He took the pain away from it, so I could be able to
It's
handle it.
it's it's definitely not easy.
A lot of times we don't want to talk about death, with family members. But I guess I tell you a quote in my book that I told my mother, and I told her, whatever you worked hard to attain will be held in the highest of honor and never allowed to be abandoned. And
Mm-hmm.
I, that was just something that came out, and she told me, said, "Boy, you sure do know what to say." So to me, that was like a covenant that I made with my mother when I made that statement.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You know, it's never easy, and
Yeah.
it's hard to grasp that, but the memories and the lessons and the love and the smiles and the laughter live on. And in your book, what do you want people to get from reading your book?
Well, to adhere to the word of God. That's what and that God will cover you no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to worry. He'll protect you in times of
Mm-hmm.
need. I mean, there have been times when I've been blessed beyond measure um, with things that I didn't think would come.
Yeah.
And I just stayed steady on the course of. I'm not saying that I was goody two shoes. I got a couple of nice whoopings from my mother over the years, So, and there were a lot of ups and downs and in and outs, and I eventually just sat down and started writing a book. And so, my thing is that's what I want people to understand, that they always have to have their faith. And now, one of the other things I like to also point out to a lot of people is that you have situations where you can see the deterioration of the family, and the criminal activity and what parents, um, try to instill in their children. And to me, I don't know. I think I kind of covered in my intro of my book when I talk about, it's not about the fads. It's not about the what's the new fashion trend, the new car, all the materialistic things of this world that eventually cause contention in the family. I mean, some of the minutest things, a chair, a ring, and folks fall out, about
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I don't know, I think about, like, one guy told me my book is almost like, he said it's like soul food. And soul food, you always have a happy ending, and that's what everybody came together and they found this money and it was in the wall and everything. And it's like, okay, but that's a false perception of reality.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it realistically, it takes a pretty long time for you to get over somebody that that loved you unconditionally. And she was, like I tell you in the book, she was not only my mother, but she was my best friend. She could give me her ear to whatever it is that I was dealing with in life, and she had a joking way about herself and would do it sometime, so. And
Wow.
I miss her to this day. I really do. I wish that, but I believe in Jesus. I will see each other again.
Definitely. Definitely. Wow. Wow. It is
Yeah.
such a pleasure to have you on the show to actually reiterate the lessons that you've learned from your mother and the guidance that you learned from her. What kind of advice do you give to people who may still have their parents here or may want to write a book about their parents?
I would say, I mean, that's difficult because I don't know, maybe some things um, that parents have done, is so bad they don't really want to share. Because I know my mother never really told us about uh, her childhood that much, because I think there was so much pain as a result of being just basically, being raised by her grandparents and not actually having the connection with her. And so she grew up in a household where she was considered like a sister to her mother, because her mother wasn't really a mother. She was just somebody who had a child and, out of wedlock at the time. And she had to fend for herself.
Mm. Wow.
Mhm. Maybe they should. I mean, if it was interesting as the story they told about my parents, they should write about it. I mean, that's something that, especially if they feel like it's worth people to, to educate them, to inform them, so they can do things better in a different way, not necessarily through the way my siblings responded. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but I would say that. Yeah, I would say that it would be something that they should, if they can do it. Because I know a lot of people ask me, can I write for them? And a lot of times, when you know your own family and their tendencies, and you grew up with certain situations, you got a lot of different things you can pull from, in as far as in your relationship. So I would say, definitely, if it led to something positive and it would lead to enlightening and informing other people, of course,
Mm-hmm.
they should
Mm.
write it. They should write something down.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
It's
you.
not easy.
Where
It's not
those
easy. It's not
Come on now. I know. I know. I
It's
know.
not easy.
Like you said, there's some people that are very strong and some people that are very weak, but in their writing they're very strong. And they can literally go ahead and go through this whole thing again and write it because they want other people to learn from their mistakes or learn from what happened to them and make other people understand that they're not alone in their journey and in their and
Right.
in their family life. Like there's other families out there just like yours that we can't get together or we can, either or. But the
Oh,
love, is
I hear that.
there.
I hear that quite a bit. I hear that when I in my tour, working with people and talking to people about the book. God, it's a whole lot of folks got to, as a result of the parents passing and them not able to monitor the relationships with the kids, and it's, I mean, it extends beyond immediate family, but
Mm-hmm.
cousins, nephews, and whoever the person can influence in whatever way they could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I thank God for giving me the ability to be able to put it together.
It is such a pleasure to have had you on the show today, and to go through what you have gone through, written this book, and given your life as an open book to the people who really, really, truly love you. Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, so where can
Definitely.
people find this book? I know I've been putting it up, lovely and
You can
orderly.
find it on Amazon.com. Um, it's readily available. I think the book should be in libraries myself. I mean,
Mm.
I have all the depositions in the book. There are depositions, all of the document. One chapter, reprobated conspiracy. There you'll see the documents that they made up in the book. You have the depositions from the court proceedings in the book, and my journey through the whole process is in the book. I mean, what gives the book credibility, in my opinion, are the depositions. The depositions give the book credibility.
Mm.
That
Mm.
it's a true story, and it's sworn. People are sworn. They are under oath. And
Wow.
in one part of the book, Rosalind Shorter Lewis, she was required to give a deposition, and she left the lawyer's office, wouldn't even respond. This is my sister. She won't even respond. She just walked out. And I had to file a motion to compel. And
Mm.
eventually we got her to come in and testify. And if you want to read a person trying to fabricate, this is why it's never good to tell lies, because you can't remember all those lies, especially
No.
when it comes down to paper. You got the
Mm-hmm.
paper right there, and they asking you, and you looking at it. If I don't see how she did it. I don't see how she lied. I mean, pathologically throughout her whole deposition. It's interesting, I tell you.
Mm.
And then just to have to go through the courts and how they delayed the process. One judge in the book, it's in chapter the somber mediation. He decided that he was going to resign and not going to render a decision.
Mm.
He
What?
just quit.
Oh my
He
gosh.
had something on his calendar, and he decided, hey, I'm going to retire, and I'm not going to listen to this mess with these
So
black people.
why would he even take the case if he knew? Okay.
That he wouldn't. I don't know. I think that he didn't want to. As I say in the book, I don't think he wanted to tarnish his credibility. And
Mm.
maybe he knew that eventually he knew something that I knew, because I followed the lawyers throughout the whole entire process. I would go to court with them. And I tell you about one part in the book where that's one judge, his name was Robert Cusack. He
Mm.
looked at me, asked my lawyer, is that your client back there? And I looked at him without batting an eye. Yes, I am. I'm my son. And he then proceeded to say, if y'all put him on the stand up here, and if I catch him lying, he's gonna go to jail. So
Mm.
I respected him for that, because I thought that he was a man of integrity, and he stood for the law. But in Cook County, I don't know. I mean, you were born in Cook County. I don't know if you were born about the courts, but
No,
it's
I don't.
corrupt. It's
I've
corrupt. I
heard.
mean, when I talked to this lady, she's about what I was going through. She said, "Baby," she said, "they crooked down now. They crooked." She said, "They
Oh
crooked.
wow.
They crooked, baby. They crooked." What you mean they crooked? I'm thinking, okay, here it is. You paying these lawyers not to twos and fews. You're paying a couple of thousands. I mean, I had to come up with money every time he filed a motion, basically.
Wow.
And God made a way. God made a way. I was able to get the
Mm-hmm.
money. And I have
Wow.
seven depositions in the book. I have the deposition of Pamela Manning. She's in Cowardly Sister,
Okay.
and she has some. It's her. This testimony is just as hilarious. I mean, when you read through it and how she responds, she's asking the question and not saying yes or no. It's something else. So I
Mm.
think it's a fantastic read. I mean,
Wow.
of a true story.
Mm, mm, mm. Well, we're going to go ahead and put that up on there on the screen. It's Lovely and Orderly, a son's lament, right? And you can get that at lovelyandorderly.com. Wow. Wow. And you piqued my curiosity here because it's like
Okay.
it's going from you being the son and then the court case and all the stuff that happens. People have got to you gotta watch this. You gotta look at this. Are you looking to put this as a movie by any chance?
I would like to.
Mm,
I would like to. I would like to. I've been given, some people have told me that. A lot of people told me. Um, so I would definitely like for it to be in film. I think it would speak volumes.
mm-hmm,
Um, Especially the fact that and I'm proud to say this, that an African American man who didn't resort to violence put the book together.
mm-hmm,
That's what I'm proud. I'm proud of that, and I know my mother will be proud of me as well.
mm, yeah.
So
Wow.
I mean, yes, it's something that should be put in the film. Um, I'm working on that.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's amazing. That's
Right.
wonderful. And I hope you do get it because I think this would bring to light a lot of injustices that happen, that people, oh, that never happened, or I don't believe that, or, you get
Right.
that, oh, well, that's all in your imagination. No, it's not. It really did happen.
Yeah, but
I
yeah,
get that a
that's
lot.
what made the difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's what made the difference. The fact that the depositions are in the book. So I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't say, um, I'm just talking off the top of my head. I have their words under oath in the book. You
Right.
can't get it better than that.
No, you
You
can't.
can't get it better than that. And I tell you, I'm not going to tell you. And like I tell people, you got to read the book to find out what they actually did. You would have to read the book to see exactly what they did. I had to go through quite a bit to do the research and determined. I was determined. I was determined. I was
Mm.
very determined. I didn't think
Wow.
I didn't think about giving up. Like I said with my book, I have a purpose, and I feel that it's something that needs to be told. This all took place like 8 years after my mother was pronounced dead,
Mm.
and I could not believe that. I mean, I was so grief stricken. I wasn't even thinking about material things at that point. I was just thinking about the fact that I was going to miss my mother greatly, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, and see it took like now I would have been crying if I would. It took me a while to be able to do this to talk about it because I just it's just so much of an emotion to me for me,
Yeah.
and I mean I meet a lot of people who tell me forget about it, but you can never forget about your mother
Right. No, no, no.
now.
No, that's not gonna happen.
You
Oh
can't
no.
never do that.
No. No, you cannot.
No.
No, you cannot. No. Wow.
Glad you said
Wow.
that.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, so I
Wow.
mean, this is a
So wow.
celebration. I might have been her favorite, I guess, to a degree. I don't know. Well, she would always call on me all the time, and I
Mm.
couldn't say no.
No.
If she asked me to do something, I couldn't say no. I'm not doing that. Nah, whatever it is she asked me, I did it.
Well, that just shows you that the lessons that your mom has taught you go all the way through until even after she's gone. Wow, that's wonderful. So you can get this book right here at lovelyandorderly.com. And I want to thank you so much. Author Theodore Shorter Jr. is in the house, and I want to thank him so much
Yes,
for
he
his
is. Yes, he is. He's in
just
the house.
hey. I want to thank you so much for being here and for sharing your story. And people, if you want to know more, go ahead and check out that book. It's again at lovinglyandorderly.com. And I want to thank you again so much for being on the show. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's a pleasure. My pleasure.
It was mine too.
My pleasure.
And thank you guys so much for tuning in. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.
I did to be different. I did.